two teams, the O'Rangers and the Midnight Wisps. Both have since become Marble League champions, but at the 2017 underwater race, neither of them held that title. One was a rookie team, looking to make a good impression, while the other was a team looking to complete the greatest comeback ever at the time. Two very different stories, but there was one event where both paths would cross. What's even better is that the outcome greatly benefited both teams, and their battle would become one of the greatest the world has ever seen. So first, let's talk about the O'Rangers. We've already covered their whole 2017 season in a different video, so we'll just briefly summarize for people who haven't seen it. They had an okay start to the year, but due to the speeders' early successes, they fell behind by 41 points. Then they turned on the gas. A gold at the block pushing propelled the team to 4th overall with 5 events to go. The next event saw the O'Rangers win their first ever silver medal, and they jumped into the top 2. But the speeders fought back. They earned a gold medal at the steeplechase to extend their lead over the O'Rangers to 31. The team slightly lowered the margin to 26 in the next event, and they knew they needed points to close that margin. More importantly, however, they needed the speeders to perform badly. So that's the situation for the O'Rangers. But what about the Midnight Wisps? Well, their road has been rather up and down. They sent in an application in late 2016 to enter the 2017 qualifiers, and to their surprise, it was accepted. At the qualifiers, they had probably the weirdest performance ever, but it almost had them eliminated too. Their first taste of Marble League competition came at the relay, and it was awful. They weren't even in frame for half the race. After 2 more okay finishes, they were sitting 15th in the standings. Remember, only 16 teams were in this qualifiers, meaning they were still in the bottom 4. They needed a better finish to qualify, and that's what they got. Waspy managed to get the best time at the funnels to secure their qualification.
This event as they surpassed the minute mark, a pretty good gap over everybody else around them.
Now, the Marble League itself was wildly inconsistent. They started off well. A silver in their second event had them at 4th early on. Another solid top half finish dropped them just 1 spot to 5th. Then they had 5 events, yes, 5, where they placed no higher than 8th. Obviously that's not good, and they were 10th by the end of that stretch. At the steeplechase, however, they earned a bronze medal, allowing them to leap over 9th into 8th. But, sticking to tradition, the Wisps had another bad finish at 12th, dropping them back to 9th. And that's how they entered into the underwater race. Now, as we look at the standings, you'll notice 3 different sections. From 12th to last were the bottom feeders. From 3rd to 1st were the true contenders. And from 4th to 11th, you have the middle pack, who were all separated by a measly 15 points. So the Wisps, sitting at 9th, had a great chance to move up, while the O'Rangers wanted to get closer to the Savage Speeders. And here we go. Let's finally take a look at the event itself. First, the O'Rangers. They were in a heat with Mellow Yellow, who were ahead of them in the standings, and they were able to beat them with ease, meaning they were guaranteed to move up to 2nd. And even better, Mellow Yellow was no longer in championship contention, so they only had to worry about the speeders.
Not make it, they will not win the championship, and they won't. Mellow Yellow gets eliminated in the first round.
Now the Wisps. They were in a heat with the speeders, who had completely dominated the year, but they were able to keep their calm and win the heat.
But it really is not going to matter. Our leaders in the Marblelympics are not going to advance. The door is wide open right now for the O'Rangers.
The speeders were knocked out in the process, a very good thing for the O'Rangers.
On that one.
For the Wisps, they received good fortune too. 2 teams ahead of them in the middle pack area did not advance. Now, we reach part 1 of this battle. The moment we've been waiting for. Semifinal B was their heat. They quickly separated themselves from the rest, and it was only a battle between them two. Kanoan held a slight advantage heading towards the line, but Waspy was right on his tail. Once they entered the last sector, Waspy made one final leap, but it was not enough.
They will advance to the final in a very good time, I might add. Oh, there it is, it's a new record, 13:12.
By just 0.04 of a second, Kanoan had won round one, and he took the record with him. Both were actually 0.02 off the record, but Kanoan was on the right side of those 0.02. Nonetheless, both would advance to the final. Okay, it's time. The whole race was a four-way battle.
Wisps in the Shining Swarm. Jungle Jumpers up top. They hold the narrow lead. Now Rangers edging ahead. Now watch lane 3.
Kanoan kept the lead into the final section. Waspy once again made a last-second lunge. Last time he barely got second. But this time the lunge worked out in his favor, and he was able to win Marble League Gold.
Lane 3 into second here. Oh, it's going to be very close. Midnight Wisps, I think are going to do it. Yes, they will by 0.07 of a second. They pipped the Rangers at the end.
It was the first gold medal of the Midnight Wisps' career, and it launched them to 4th overall. For the Rangers, that silver had them 10 points behind the Speeders. It was honestly a great event for both teams, and we saw an excellent battle. Additionally, their paths would also end in great ways. The Rangers, of course, got the silver for the championship win. Meanwhile, the Wisps got 7th, which solidified their spot at 4th, which is rather impressive, since 5 teams were all within 9 points and under. The great underwater battle really set up both paths. They fed off each other that whole event, and they both benefited greatly, especially for the rookies, mainly because this end set them up for an amazing 2018 run, one where they finally won it all.